The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2021.
Breaking overnight, Congress has officially validated Joe Biden's presidential election win. The ceremonial vote wrapped up just after 3:30 this morning after defeating objections to Arizona and Pennsylvania's votes. Also breaking this morning in a statement released after Congress concluded the vote count, President Trump promised there will be an orderly transition of power.
This comes hours after the crisis at the Capitol. Let's take a live look from Washington, D.C., where the city remains quiet all night after a mob stormed the Capitol building. Washington, D.C.'s mayor issued a curfew, which just expired a few minutes ago at 6.
Outside the Capitol and around other government buildings, heavily armed police, law enforcement, and the National Guard protecting the lawmakers inside.
A much different scene from earlier, where the president's supporters stormed the grounds, rushed into the Capitol, smashed out windows, and rioted, all in an attempt to overturn his election loss. This morning, there are calls for the president's removal by the 25th Amendment.
And it's not just Democratic lawmakers floating the idea, but reportedly members of his own party. CBS 4's Natalie Brand begins our team coverage from Washington.
Maribel and Francis, the mayor of D.C. has extended a public emergency order for the next 15 days through the inauguration. The Capitol complex this morning is secure but somber as lawmakers wrapped up their work overnight of counting electoral votes and gave speeches condemning the violence.
Follows. Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes.
In the early hours of Thursday morning, the joint session of Congress affirmed President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Electoral College win after defeating objections to Arizona and Pennsylvania's votes.
The noes have it.
It came hours after Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building, some making it as far as Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office. Others reached the Senate floor. Capitol Police drew their guns as people tried to enter the House. 4 people died during the chaos, 3 from medical emergencies. 1 woman was shot and killed. Members of the House and Senate had been evacuated from their chambers.
This is banana republic crap.
Wisconsin GOP Congressman Mike Gallagher sheltered in place in his office.
Mr. President, you have got to stop this.
Earlier Wednesday, President Trump continued his attacks on the 2020 election.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Mr. Trump's Twitter account was later locked after posting this video message to his supporters.
So go home. We love you. You're very special.
The violence began shortly after some Republicans raised their first objection, an effort to show support for President Trump, even if it didn't have the votes to succeed.
And it gives credibility to a dark chapter of our history.
Early this morning, the White House released a statement from President Trump saying though he disagrees with the outcome of the election, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th.
In a news conference Wednesday night, we learned that in addition to the woman who was shot and killed at the Capitol, there were 3 other deaths related to separate medical emergencies. D.C. police also said they made more than 50 arrests and recovered 2 pipe bombs and Molotov cocktails. On Capitol Hill, I'm Natalie Brand, CBS 4 This Morning.